Hey guys, Sithis here, and in this video I want to go over the broken windows fallacy and how it applies to the state and taxation. The broken windows fallacy critiques the mistaken belief that economic activity generated by repairing destruction or damage is beneficial for overall economic prosperity. Let me demonstrate this idea with a simple story. Imagine a shopkeeper whose window is broken by a mischievous boy. Onlookers might argue that the broken window isn't entirely bad because it creates work for the man who repairs it. The repairman earns money, which he could spend elsewhere, stimulating economic activity. This logic focuses on what is seen, the immediate benefit to the repairman. However, what is not seen is equally important. If the shopkeeper didn't need to spend his money fixing the window, he could have used that money for something else, like buying a new suit. The alternative use of the funds would have also created economic activity, but in this case, it would have added new value rather than just replacing something already functional. When the window is broken, the shopkeeper is forced to divert his funds towards something he didn't want, fixing the window. If the window hadn't been broken, he would have had both an intact window and a new suit. Instead, now he has no suit and must spend money just to fix the window. This is a net destruction of wealth that harms the economy and leaves people worse off than they otherwise would have been. Many people don't realize that this concept can also be applied to taxation. When the government forcibly imposes taxes, it takes money out of the economy and uses it for various projects like building roads, funding social services, or paying government employees. This has the same effect as the kid throwing the rock at the shopkeeper's window. Taxes are forcibly imposed on individuals taking resources from their own plans and redirecting them according to the government's priorities. Some might argue that the government spending stimulates the economy by creating jobs and increasing demand for goods and services. But just like the broken windows example, this view focuses only on the seen, the immediate visible effects. It ignores the unseen, the opportunity cost of what the taxpayer could have done with their money if it hadn't been taken from them in the first place. Just as the shopkeeper could have spent his money on something more productive than repairing a window, taxpayers could have used their money to create additional wealth or growth in the economy. Some people might say, but Sithis, the state uses our money to protect us from criminals or funds courts to settle disputes, making us better off. But here's the problem with that line of thinking. If I wanted those services, I could have purchased them myself. The state wouldn't need to forcibly take my money to provide me something I actually value. Sure, there might be some things the state provides that I do want or need, but what about the things that the state spends my money on that I don't want or need? Taxation takes resources away from the individual and redistributes them into government projects, which often don't create as much value as the private sector. The government is necessarily destroying value by the fact that their funding is forcibly acquired. Even if the government takes my money and buys the exact groceries with it as I would and then hands them to me, this would still provide me with less satisfaction as I would have preferred to do it myself. The extra step might lead to a very similar outcome, but the extra step did not provide value. It destroys it. Another reason why the state is more likely to be inefficient with your money is because they did not earn it themselves. Individuals who are risking their own money are more likely to be careful with how they spend their money because if they make a mistake, they're the ones that incur the loss. It's not the same with the state. When the state incurs a loss, it doesn't affect them as much as the average person because they can simply tax people more in order to make up for it. And if you don't believe that taxation is theft, stop paying your taxes and see what happens. The government will send men to your house to threaten, imprison, or even kill you if you don't comply. In conclusion, the broken windows fallacy teaches us that destruction doesn't create economic prosperity. It diverts resources away from productive uses. Similarly, taxation reduces overall wealth by forcibly reallocating resources according to the government's agenda, often ignoring the preferences and needs of individuals. A free state thrives when individuals have freedom to spend their money as they see fit, creating value and innovation without coercion. To finish this off, I want to read a quote by the great Henry Hazlitt. The belief that public works necessarily create jobs is false. If the money was raised by taxation, we saw that for every dollar that the government spends on public works, one less dollar was spent by the taxpayer to meet their own wants. And for every public job created, one private job was destroyed. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching my video on the broken windows fallacy and how it applies to taxation. If you guys want a deeper understanding of the broken windows fallacy, I really urge you guys to read the book by Henry Hazlitt, The Economics in One Lesson, or Economics in One Lesson. It's a really, really great book that I read recently and I wanted to make a video on. So, yeah. And thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys have a good night and I'll see you guys all next time.